Whenever I thought of something and I said, no, I can't do that, it almost motivated me more to do it.
The words I would use to capture the SEMA show: innovation, passion, creativity, and a sense of entrepreneurial spirit.
Usually you go from somebody who's walking by your truck to somebody who's now spent 10 or 15 minutes and actually looking for who built it and want to know what's going on with this thing. Hi, I'm Sean Getty from Ottawa, Canada. I've made a 5-day drive down here to towing my 1950 Mercury, which is a bit of wolf in sheep's clothing. I wanted a minimum of 20 things people could look at, find, and even come back to the truck, find something else that they didn't see before. I decided to go a little bit out of the box, do a Mercury build instead of the F100s. Mercury is primarily Canadian. Went with a bit of a Canadian theme on the vehicle. Power plant wise, I did have the flathead rebuilt and ready to go, but things happened and a little SRT-10 fell across my lap, and a little later on I decided to put the Dodge Viper V10 underneath here with the complete chassis. The oil coolers outside for some looks, I wanted that kind of Mad Max look, but there's also not much space left over after I put air conditioning in, custom rad. We have modern headlights, everything's LEDs on here just so we have the safety and the performance of the modern technology. It appeals to all ages, generations, doesn't matter who you are. I think I've been getting thumbs up and everything from every single person I've seen, and I have lots of shiny things that I have in my collection. This is the only one that I don't require me cleaning. The only alteration I've done to the outside of this truck as far as appearance-wise is the addition of my logo with a 41-year veteran pinstriper did it. Rolly came to my shop and did some pinstriping for me. I didn't want to fake or adjust anything on the paint. Moving on the inside, I put some race bucket seats in from Corbeau with the harnesses. There's a drifter style handbrake in the center console. We have some snap-on cup holders as cup holders. The Viper pedals are all in there as power pedals. We have the SRT gauges all in. This little Coke can, I found it actually stuck in the front end of the truck when I first got the green front end, and I had a gauge that was nice and round that needed to go somewhere. And just one day I looked at the gauge, I looked at the can, and bingo, 20 minutes later I was making some metal shavings doing it. I literally put the can behind my counter, and I was installing all the gauge cluster from the SRT-10. And I had the one gauge they used on the A-pillar of that truck to show you your oil temperature it's an autometer gauge, so it's got a good bit of depth to it. And I didn't know where to put it in the dash. And then I literally looked at the can, I looked at the gauge, and something in my brain just says, go get your air saw, get your Dremel, make it friction fit. Then I drilled the end, bolted it to the firewall, and probably within an hour it was mounted, done, wired into the truck. And it was one of those things that happened fast, happened well. Quick disconnect steering wheel. There's a nice beer tap shifter. The upper box in the roof I made out of an ammo can to put some of my switches in, my start buttons up top. I just wish the pedals are about 3 inches further away from me, so I have the seat moved all the way back to have the gas tank out where the normal gas tank would have been behind the seat. It's in the stock location on the Dodge frame. My door lock system, you will see I just have a simple old padlock that works with the key. I dremeled out a hole and made an old style hinge to work with that door lock. Now I had one of my deal breakers was going to be this gap I was going to have between the cab and the bed. I came up with this 4-inch tubing because nobody does really 4-inch tubing. We cut belt pass-throughs through the back of the cab so that I would get the look I wanted and a functional piece as well. And it takes care of that little gap I had. I've already shortened the frame by 8 inches, so I didn't want to go any more. Inside this Coke cooler, if you want to get a really funny look at the gas station, all you have to do is, when I need fuel, I gotta go in, take out my tray, and I fill my fuel in there, in this hole. So you get a lot of looks putting gas into a 1950s Coke cooler. Also in here is the tank for these lines that I ran here, that when you're doing a burnout and you're in line lock on 3rd gear and you want to have the big smoke, you put down the bleach. I'm sorry to all the Coke collectors and fans out there if I made somebody cry one night when I drilled that big hole in the bottom of it, which was one of 4 holes drilled in that cooler, therefore making that 50s Coke cooler not that collectible, but I think there's enough of them out there, we're okay. This was one of my focal points, which took me 25 hours. It is a lot of pennies. Pennies in the stem that are tails, so that the maple leaf, whatever's red was tails, as well as black. I just did a tighter pattern on the black for the tails. Heads are white, but our kids' birthdays are in the stem. I have a war veteran memorial loonie in the middle, and then there, at the very tip of the maple leaf, there is a 1950 that represents the truck. I only actually, in all the buckets of pennies I had, I really only found the one 1950. I put a 6-horn train system in here, with the 7th horn, the black one, being the tugboat marine horn. All the tubing is hidden on the backside except for the tugboat horn. I needed to add some stiffness to the rear bed of my truck. I used a hay baler chain off of a farm with some turnbuckles in the existing holes that the farmer had, and I just bring the bed sides together just a little bit stronger. And I needed to hide my 7-pin connector for the trailer wiring. So I put it in behind a 737 jet airplane gas cap. This is the most time I've spent around the truck all show. I've been enjoying the rest of the show. And I've watched people that have been walking 10 or 15 feet away, and they see something catches their eye. There's everything from a Tim Hortons coffee cup that hides a rather ugly pressure switch and some wiring. But we came up with the thought of going to the local Tim Hortons, which there are many in Canada, and we found a cup. I dremeled it out, I extended what I need to do, and as you see it, I have a decorative pressure switch instead of just a very ugly pressure switch. With all the beautiful hardware that's always out at these shows, it's very hard to come up with your own stuff and still have people say, wow, you know, and I want the people that I would not normally see. Like, if they walk up to my Viper car, that's a different kind of person that walks up to that. People come up to this and want to talk about it. Other people see just a shiny Viper, they like it. And people that know what it is, they appreciate it. This thing, I just wanted, the goal was appeal to everybody at a car show, give everybody something to look at, from the young kids that think it's tomater to the adults that know exactly what's inside here. I want to go with that. You know what, I'll talk with anybody that comes up and wants to talk about the car. I have no problems repeating myself 20 times a day. I'm meeting people for a short period of their life. They're seeing this, I want to please the crowd, and then I'll take it home and enjoy it and drive it.